There are so many great credit cards out there, but what if we could only have one from each of the major banks? Listen in as we share our picks. Welcome to Points Talk with the Travel Mom Squad. Hey, I'm Alex.
And I'm Pam, Alex's mom.
And I'm Jess. Let's talk points. Thankfully, this is not the case, but what if we could only have one transferable points card from each of the four major banks and just one hotel card and one airline credit card? That's like a nightmare, but we're going to go into which card we would pick and why. So we are going to start it off with American Express. All right, Pam, I know that you love you some Amex and you have like 5 million Amex points, but if you could only open one card, one transferable points card from American Express, which one are you choosing? I think I have an idea, but let me know.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how we agree and disagree on this. And I used to have I'm not really 5 million, but I used to have a lot. But I have used so many of my American Express membership rewards that I would love to get more. So I'm kind of at that position all of a sudden. But the card that I opened fairly early and I've never canceled, that works really well for me, is the American Express Platinum card. That's the personal card. I have loved that card for forever. I know Jess, it made some changes and Jess did a reel where she threw it in the garbage and I was just like appalled. It's like, no, I love that card. And I think one of the things is that it has a higher annual fee and that kind of just, makes everybody upset. You've got to really use those credit card benefits to make it worthwhile. I don't have any trouble doing that. I use my benefits. I'm very organized about doing that. And so, literally, with using all my benefits, it's like I'm paying nothing for the annual fee. Yes, it is coupon book like. But in my past life, before I started this, I was an extreme couponer. I even wrote for a very popular coupon blog. And so I can kind of do these benefits with my eyes closed now. It's just super simple. It works for me. I love the airport lounge access that it gives. And yeah, it will always be in my wallet.
I also feel like it's fun for you, like doing your Grubhub and doing your, I feel like you really enjoy it, whereas sometimes for me, it's an annoyance and it's just one more thing added to my list. But for you, I can tell that you were like, I'm ready. This is a challenge. Pam's ready to get all her money's worth out of this annual fee.
Yeah, it's like a game.
Yeah, it's like a game for you.
Well, that's what couponing was for me.
Yeah.
It was a game. And so this is just an extenuation of that game with way better rewards. In fact, when we are through today, I am going to use my Uber Eats credits and to go to pick up all my bunk cakes along with my Grubhub credits. So yeah, I'm there. It's fun.
If you're not watching on YouTube, you really should be, because the faces that Pam is making when she's like, I'm picking up my bunk cakes is priceless. And I love how excited she gets for this card and the little coupons that come with it.
Well, I have a granddaughter who said, Grandma, do you have any more of those gluten-free bun cakes? Because she's got celiacs in your freezer. I says, no, but I'm going tomorrow. So my grandkids love it too.
All right, Alex, what are you picking?
Oh man, this was so hard. You guys, I made this outline for this episode. And then as I was like putting in the cards that I was picking, I was like, this is too hard. Why did I decide to do this? I can't even decide. So you will notice throughout this episode that I'm like wavering between two on a lot of these. So this is the first one. It was so hard for me to pick between the American Express Platinum and the American Express Gold card. So, for my instinct is like, oh, I'm doing the Amex Gold. Like I want 4X on groceries, 4X on restaurants. Like that's a really great way to earn more of these points. Such a good everyday spend card. But then I started thinking, well, I do fly Delta often because I'm based out of Salt Lake City, which is a Delta hub, and I can get access to Delta Sky Clubs 10 times a year with my Platinum card. They're adding a Centurion Lounge to my home airport. I think they're even adding another Delta Sky Club. So we will have 2. And our Delta Sky Club is nice. Jess is
It
going to
is
be in
nice.
town, and we're going to the airport early because I want Jess to come try out the Delta Sky Club because she's actually flying Delta with me. So anyway, the downside is you don't get guest access for free for either Centurion Lounge or Delta Sky Clubs. But a lot of times I'm traveling by myself when I'm flying Delta. I'm either positioning for a flight, I'm either meeting up with these 2. I'm traveling with my husband and he also has a platinum card, and so we can go together. We we don't typically fly with the kids on Delta. That's what we saved Southwest for. But there are times where it's really nice for me to have that lounge access. And so I am going to go with the platinum card, which is actually kind of funny because I don't even have a platinum card. I have the business platinum.
I'm trying to figure this out, Alex. I'm going, wait a minute.
Yeah.
And I can remember the day when you guys, I have always been the staunch supporter of the Amex Platinum card. And you guys have kind of made fun of me for it or thought that, and here we are. Now we've got Alex talking about how great it is, yet she doesn't have it.
No, but I have the business version. But if I was only going to have one, I like the benefits on the personal version more. And I'm eventually going to get the personal version. I just haven't yet because Amex, they're like, have another business platinum card. Have another business platinum card. I'm like, okay, I'll take it. So those targeted offers are really hard to say no to. I actually just applied to one last night and got approved that's actually my first time getting on the gravy train. So my second business platinum card. So with that, I don't want to get the personal card and have another $795 annual fee. So my plan is when that kind of starts running out and it's not an option for me, then I will get a platinum card. But, I got to take 524 into account as well. So it really started to change though when my home airport started to get these lounges where I could use that lounge access more. And I think what happens too is once you have the access, going to not have the access would be really disappointing. It's like my husband and I were coming home from Bora Bora and we had a layover at LAX and we got to go to the Delta Sky Club. And it was so good. The food there's been really good lately. It was a really good food. And we had, we'd flown overnight. We were really tired. And so it's just once you have it, it's hard. It'd be too hard to not be able to go anymore. So I think that's what really did it for me is I think Delta Sky Clubs are really nice. I think there's at least, at Salt Lake and LAX, some of the ones I've been to are really nice. But it's really hard to say no to the gold. And I do think the gold is going to make the most sense for the vast majority of people. I think it's just with my particular situation in my home-based airport. I do want to say though, if you're like, which card should I get? Always get the gold first, because if you get for the personal cards, if you get the platinum personal card first, you will not be able to get the gold. So I already have the gold, and so I'm fine to go out and get the personal platinum. But Jess, what about you?
I really like this episode because I think it shows that like even among the 3 of us, it's not even disagreements. It's just different cards work for different people based on their situations. And so that's why like when someone DMs us or like goes on our Facebook group and they're like, what card should I get? I'm like, there's not one. I mean, there are a couple cards that were like, this one always makes sense for beginners. This one always makes sense for beginners. But so much of your credit card strategy is going to depend on where you live, which airlines you fly, your travel goals, like your travel habits. Do you even care about lounge access? And so I think it's cool that, we've all got a little bit of a different take. So I had the same dilemma as Alex. Mine was between the personal platinum and the personal gold. I also do not have the personal platinum, but my reel of me, I actually did throw it in the trash can when I made that reel, and that reel went viral. And so people have opinions about the American Express Platinum. It is very controversial. I ended up going with the Amex Gold. There were a few big reasons for that. Number one is the annual fee is less than half of the annual fee for the Platinum card. And you're going to see a little bit later on, I'm picking some cards with pretty high annual fees. So I can't be having every single card from every bank be $700-800 annual fee. The business or the platinum or the business platinum are tempting for me because I'm based in Houston and there is a Centurion Lounge in Houston. Houston is a United hub, so I do not ever fly Delta really. I think when I fly it with Alex coming up, this is going to be like the third time I've ever flown Delta in my entire life, and nothing against Delta. I really love their partnership with Shake Shack, but it's not a super convenient airline to fly out of Houston. And so Delta Sky Clubs are not a factor for me. Centurion Lounge is somewhat of a factor, but their guest policy changes really kind of soured me on them. They're always, even with the guest policy changes, I find that there's often a wait to get into the Centurion Lounge in Houston, and the location isn't super convenient for most of my flights. It's in Terminal D, which is the international terminal, and I often am flying out of a different terminal. And so it's one of those things where I get to the airport and I'm like, is it worth going to a different terminal just to stand in line to try and get into the lounge? It's so the lounge wasn't a huge factor for me. The biggest factor for me is that I get a majority of my Amex points, well, from welcome offers. But if we can only have one and we're not applying for multiple cards, my second biggest way is from the Forex on groceries and restaurants on my Amex Gold card. Those are probably my two biggest spend categories. I don't like cooking, y'all. Like restaurants, I get a lot of points from dining out, and grocery stores. Obviously, I feel like we all spend a lot on groceries. And then I just like the credits. It has the $7 a month Dunkin' credit, which I redeem at Baskin Robbins. So hot tip, you can load your Dunkin' card and use it at Baskin Robbins. There's the $100 Resi credit. That's $50 twice a year. The $10 in Uber or the $10 dining credit. And so I just find it really easy to recoup a big chunk of that annual fee. And so for that reason, I am going with the gold, but the platinum would definitely be my second choice. All right, let's go to Capital One. So Pam, I feel like we're all going to say the same thing for Capital One.
Yeah, we'll get through this one quicker.
Yeah, well, I was, but then I thought, well, it was going to be a Venture X card. And I knew that, probably, I don't know, I went with the Venture X business. And that's because the welcome offer is always so much better. And so it's pretty similar. The thing that I love about both the Venture X and the Venture X business is you get 2 points per dollar spent. So it's such an easy card, both of them to take, especially when I'm traveling, and just take and not have to think for my everyday normal spending. So I love that. Venture X business. Oh my goodness, you get so many venture miles when you get the welcome offer for this. Now, it is a harder card to meet the welcome offer. Not everybody is going to be able to do that. You need to have a really good way to meet a high spend. Now, for us, it's been simple. My husband and I have both gotten it by paying estimated taxes. Currently, the offer is 150K venture miles after a 30K spend. That's a lot. But you take that 30K spend, you're also getting 2 points per dollar spent there. That's 60K. Added to the 150K, that's a whopping 210,000K venture miles. Now, I can use that and almost fly 3 business class seats. That is worth a ton of money to me. So for that reason, it is the card that I would probably pick over the Venture X. It does have an annual fee of $395, but just like the Venture X, you're going to get a $300 travel credit. I just used that when I was flying from Tahiti to Bora Bora. So easy to use. I never have a problem with that. That makes the annual fee really reasonable. And so because of that crazy, crazy amount of venture miles that I can earn, that is the one that I'm going to go with. Alex?
Well, I did the personal Venture X. And the reason being is, for me, it was between the Venture and the Venture X. And I'd rather go with the Venture X because I think the benefits are worth the fee. Like my mom said, you get 2x on everything. You get the $300 travel credit. You additionally, though, every year on your account anniversary, get 10,000 bonus points. That right there, like, covers the whole fee. And we're not even talking about the lounge access yet. The lounge access, has gone downhill since starting in February. You will not be able to bring guests for free. So I'm not keeping this card for the lounge access. I really love Capital One lounges, and I will still try to go to them when I'm just traveling by myself or with my husband because he has a card as well. But it's not the reason I'm keeping it. I feel like if it's the two cards are so similar, the Venture and the Venture X. They both earn 2x on everything, and they both earn Venture miles. So the difference is I'm just getting some more perks to go with it, like the 10,000 bonus points and the $300 travel credit to cancel out that fee. And then, okay, well, then I can go to the lounge when I'm there. So I kind of think they're apples to apples in a sense if you don't really care a ton about the lounge access. But yeah, I'm going to go with Venture X. Jess?
I also went with Venture X for all of the reasons Alex stated. I do think that the Venture X has some better travel protections over the regular Venture.
Yeah, that's so true.
I'm just paranoid. I want the most protections. Like, if I were to charge travel to my Venture X, I would 100% choose that over the regular Venture. And so for me, the Venture X is a no-brainer. I think when those lounge changes came out, a lot of people were upset, understandably. And they were like, I'm canceling my Venture X. I'm downgrading it to the Venture. And I'm like, I'm not doing anything. Like, yeah, I'm not happy. I'm locked out of some lounges with my family now, and that's not great. But the fact of the matter is I'm still earning that $300 annual travel credit. I'm still earning those 10,000 bonus miles. That alone offsets the fee. Like, there's no reason for me to cancel it. If you don't travel as much as we do, maybe
Yeah.
it doesn't make as much sense because you do have to redeem that travel credit in the Capital One travel portal, which is annoying. So if you don't travel a ton and you're like, it's a pain, it's more trouble than it's worth to try and offset that $300 travel credit, then yeah, the regular Venture might make sense. But I mean, if you're planning to rent a car or anything like that in the next year, like, that's what I typically use it for, is rental cars. And so I feel like if you travel enough, it's a no-brainer over the regular Venture.
Yeah, I agree.
But when Pam was doing her spiel about the 210,000 miles, I was like, dang, maybe I should have chosen the business version.
I know,
But
huh?
either the
Yeah.
personal or the business Venture X would get my vote.
Yeah, and this is a card, like you were saying, a lot of people were like, I'm done with it. This is an everyday spend card for me. Like, this
Exactly.
card has a spot in my wallet. And especially when I'm traveling out of the country, it always is coming because it's like, okay, 2x, no foreign transaction fees, and I don't have to worry about category spend. It's just a no thinking card. And the great protections. Yeah, like, I use this card a lot.
Okay, so when it comes to city cards, I went with a card that I just like that comes from Citi. So if I was picking something that earned Citi thank you points, it would be the Citi Strata Premier for all the reasons that Jess and Alex will get into. But I'm always looking at ways to earn more AA miles. And so I would probably pick the Citi AA card. Now, we're going to talk about airline cards. And it isn't, if I only had one airline card, this isn't the card that I'd pick. But if I was going to pick a card offered by the bank Citi, I would pick the American Airlines card, the business card. Would count for my 5 and 24. I earn more American Airlines miles, and I've used them quite often, especially for Q suites, or I use them to fly business class from Dallas to Auckland. So I'm always looking for them and not enough ways to earn them. So that's my pick, even though that wasn't exactly the way I was supposed to do it. Okay. So, Alex, tell us about Citi Thank You Point cards now.
Well, what's really nice now is Citi does transfer to AA. So you could open a Citi Thank You card, but they don't have a business card. So that is a nice way by opening up the Citi AA business card, you're not taking a 524 slot. So I went with the Citi Strata Premier. Spoiler alert, I do not have any Citi Thank You cards. I have never opened a Citi Thank You. Like, I've applied for one and I was denied, and I was like,
I was going to say, I think you've tried.
I tried once, and it was like years ago. There was this time probably in like 2020 or 2021 where they partnered with AA for like a few months. It was like this promo thing where you could transfer your points to AA for a little bit. And I was like, I'm going to get this card and I'm going to transfer these points to AA and I'm going to book Q Suite and we're going to go to Maldives. And City's like, no, you're not. You're denied. So instead, and I was so bugged, you guys, because my mom applied and she got it. And who do you think has opened more cards, her or me? Her. And the reason they denied me is because they said I had too many accounts open. So I had all worked out. I opened AA cards. I went to Maldives. Everything worked out. It was fine. But yeah, I just haven't applied since then because I haven't needed the point and I haven't wanted to give up a 524 slot for the card.
They need a business card that earns thank you points.
Yeah. So I will get it. I'm not saying I will never get it. It's just I've got to plan it around my 524. And I'm kind of like, well, will they even approve me next time? I don't know. So they can be a little quirky with approvals, a little bit like Capital One if you've opened a lot of cards recently. So kind of need to like plan that out better. But the reason I'm going with the City Strata Premier is I don't think the City Strata Elite, which is a new card, is worth the fee. And so that's why I'm doing the Premier. What about you, Jess?
I also chose the Premier. I have had it. It's funny though, because it used to be one of those cards where it was like, I earned the welcome offer. I transferred them to Turkish, took my business class flight. And then I was like, it's just hard to earn city thank you points. Just
For sure.
they don't have a ton of cards that earn thank you points.
Mhm.
So I never really got too much into it after that. But I do think that now that they transfer to AA, they have moved up in my book. And I actually got the Strata Premier probably close to 4 years ago, which means that I could reopen it if I wanted. I could reapply because they have a 48-month rule. And so I actually might look into doing that now that they transfer to AA. But I think that I would choose the Strata Premier over the Strata Elite. Like you said, the annual fee is much lower. It's only $95. You're still able to transfer out to all of City's transfer partners. The Strata Premier actually might have the best spend categories of any $95 annual fee on the market. It earns 3x at gas stations and on EV charging. So, yes, thank you for those we are electric vehicle owners. And so you never really see 3x on our spend categories. You also get 3x on groceries, gas, and restaurants. I mean, as families, what do you spend the most money on? Probably groceries, gas, and restaurants, And so I feel like earning 3x in all of those categories makes it a really competitive card. But yeah, like the City Elite, the annual fee is just too high. It's like too coupon bookish.
Yeah.
They're trying to be an Amex Platinum, but with worse credits. And so I might eventually open the Strata Elite just for the welcome offer, but that is not a keeper card in my book. I would stick with the Strata Premier.
Yeah, I think it's a good option too, like you were saying, for people who are trying to earn more AA miles. Maybe you live in an AA hub to get this card, keep it. There's also like the City Double Cash, which is a good option too. It works like a Freedom card where if you have the Premier, you can move your points and they can become City Thank You points, just like you can, move your Freedom points to your Sapphire Preferred. So I think there is like a compelling argument for getting some of these families of cards and really going all in if you fly AA often. If you don't, then maybe it doesn't make the most sense. I'm going to stick to my Chase Ultimate Rewards. That's works much better for my travel. But if, you're someone who flies AA a lot, there is an argument there to kind of go all in on City Thank You points now.
Totally. All right. Well, if you enjoyed this podcast, then don't miss our premium podcast, Points Talk Premium, where we go even deeper into our strategies, cover the latest news in points and miles, and share some in-depth tips and tricks to travel on points. You can find a link to subscribe in the show notes. All right. Last but not least, our favorite, well, I guess not last bank, not last card.
Yes,
So
last transferable points.
all right, Pam. So with our buddy Chase, which card are you choosing?
Well, I went as me being a beginner. And as a beginner, our favorite card that we encourage people to get is the Chase Sapphire Preferred. It has a really low annual fee that even that is covered by Benefits Plus. The standard offer has been increased to $75K. And so it's just a no-brainer card. Chase has the best transferable partners. And so, yeah, that's it. Now, I will say I'm not a beginner. And so I would, if as not being a beginner, I kind of now like the Chase Sapphire Reserve better. But I think you guys are going to talk a little bit more about that. But as a beginner, definitely the Chase Sapphire Preferred has been for forever my favorite, not only my favorite Chase card, probably my favorite card in general. So, Alex, tell us about the card that is intrigued us recently.
So you guys are going to laugh. It's another card I don't have. Okay, but let me just preface this. It's the Chase Sapphire Reserve. I do have the Chase Sapphire Reserve Business, and this card just came out with some new changes. So I, I like it more with the new changes despite having a higher annual fee. And so for those reasons, I'm going to get it. I just am not eligible for the bonus yet because I recently got the Sapphire Preferred. And so I have the business, but I long term want to have the reserve and will hang on to that one. So super high annual fees. What is it? $7.95? So pretty crazy. The benefits are more useful to me than a lot of the other coupon book type benefits. And they're better than the business card benefits, which the reserve business has the same annual fee. And so that's why I want to eventually shift to the personal version. But what I like about this card and why I chose this over the preferred, which is a hard choice. I don't think you can, there's no like wrong answer for this one. I feel, and for none of them, there's no wrong answer for any of them. You get the card that works for your strategy and, your travel. But either one of the Sapphire Preferred or Reserve are incredible cards, like some of the best cards out there. And so either one's going to be fantastic. The reason I went with the Reserve though, is I want Forex on airlines and hotels when I book directly. Yes, we travel on points, but there's a lot of times where I am paying cash for domestic flights, especially if I'm traveling by myself. Because often if I'm flying Delta by myself or I'm positioning, I am paying cash for those because Delta charges a lot of points for some of their flights, and it doesn't always make sense to use points. And I don't really want to transfer my Amex membership rewards to Delta. I don't have a ton of Delta miles. And so I'm paying cash for a lot of those flights. And so to get 4x on those flights, earn 4 ultimate rewards per dollar spent on flights to me is like, that's just really nice. I love that. I love that ability now. The $300 travel credit is the easiest one to use out there. All you got to do is purchase travel with it and they're done. You don't have to go through the portal. It's on any travel, anything that goes to travel, you'll get that $300 travel credit. So that's why I chose that. The protections are amazing and the coupon book type things work better for me than others. Like one of them is Apple Music and Apple TV, something I already pay for. And so I just find them much more useful. So that's why I went for that. What about you, Jess?
So it's funny because before these changes came out, I was always like Team Sapphire Preferred. I didn't really see the appeal of the Reserve because the welcome offer was typically the same as the Preferred. The annual fee at the time was $500 more. And this was before, like Chase has really stepped up their game with their lounges that they're putting in airports. And so for a long time, it was like there weren't Chase lounges. The welcome offer was 60,000 points. The annual fee was $550. And I was like, who would get that card? Like, I just didn't understand it. I was like, who
Yeah.
would get that card? Like that. And now I'm kind of the opposite. Not the opposite. I still think the Sapphire Preferred is a great card and makes sense for a ton of people. But the Sapphire Reserve has really stepped up their game and become more valuable for me. Like you said, because of the Forex on hotel and airlines booked directly. We primarily book directly when we do pay cash. I agree with you that the annual travel credit is so easy to use. I used it without even knowing I was using it because I just charged a flight and then I was like, why did I get a credit? Oh, I forgot about that. It's so, and it comes with the Lyft credits. It comes with I have a Peloton membership. I have Apple TV. I have Apple Music. I use DoorDash religiously. And so these are all credits that truly offset the annual fee for me. If my home airport had a Sapphire Lounge, which please add one to Houston, this would be a absolute Sapphire Reserve over Sapphire Preferred because the Chase lounges are so nice and being able to go in and bring free guests. This one still has guest access for priority pass lounges, which the Venture X, like you said, is about to not have any longer. And so I feel like this is a better choice for families who want to access lounges than the Venture X. And so I am going to go with the Chase Sapphire Reserve, which is funny because when they announced the increased $795 annual fee, people lost their minds.
Mhm.
And I'm one of those people that's like, but it actually is kind of better now. So, yeah.
Well, and I think so too. For people listening, we are choosing these cards for us, obviously the cards we'd pick, but you'll notice like we've chosen Venture X, Platinum, like a lot of expensive cards is what I've chosen, which was a surprise to me. But it's going to be I mean, as you've seen, some of it varies between us, but it's going to vary a lot person to person. Most of you are not traveling 10 times or more a year like we are. And so, keep that in mind when you're like, oh, they're getting this card and this card. If you travel frequently, these cards will make sense for you. If you don't, then you're like, yeah, I'll get the Venture and I'll get the Sapphire Preferred. Like that's going to make more
Like
sense.
the Gold, the Venture. Yeah.
Yeah, like our second choice options are probably going to be the options that are going to work more for most people. Most people probably only need one premium credit card long term. So just wanted to put that out there so you don't feel like you have to like get all these cards that we have because this is our job.
Yeah, so we're in a unique situation.
Yeah.
So glad you brought that up, Alex. Okay, so we're going to go on to airline cards. And we love our transferable currencies. They're the bread and butter of what we do. But it is still nice to have an airline card or a hotel card. And because we do this a lot, we have several of both types. But if I could only have one airline card, it is super simple to pick because I live near Denver. That is the airport I fly out of all the time. So I would get a United credit card, of course, and I like the United Explorer. With that, the annual fee is waived the first year, and then it's $150. But you get 2 club lounge passes, and we've got really nice United Airline club lounges in our airport. You get a free check bag, and sometimes, although we are team carry-on, and I always am when I travel internationally, I love that check bag if I'm just going to have a direct flight and I don't have to carry that big bag and hurt my back more. You get priority boarding. Because I fly on United all the time, I get elite status every single year for domestic travel because to keep that elite status, I don't use miles for when I fly on United. And so just to have these perks because I'm flying on United, if it's anything domestic, oh, I bet you at least 90% of the time I'm on a United flight. All of this stuff just works for me. And so my pick is the United Explorer card. And I think it was the first credit card I ever got before I was even doing points and miles. And I have actually canceled it and received it again for the welcome offer, but it is a card that I will always have. So that's my pick. Alex, what about you?
All right, guys, this was a tough one. Like I chose one and then I was like, well, do I want that or should I do this one? So let me like walk you through my thought process. First pick was the Delta Platinum card. This card is not the right choice for like 80% of people. I would say if you live in a Delta hub, then it probably works for you. If you don't, it's probably not. The reason being, if you have any Delta card, you get 15% back when you book award flights, or like 15% off award flight redemptions. So that right there is like, okay, that's nice. But I also don't book a ton of award flights through Delta. I do some, but like my mom, I usually book my Delta flights with cash and have them go towards my status. I have gotten upgrades to like Delta Comfort just by having this card, not even by having any status, but just having this card. You go into your Delta profile, like, or your booking, your, what is it? The confirmation type thing. What am I thinking of, you guys? Is it just the booking?
Confirmation? Yeah,
You go into your
flight
flight details. Yeah. And you can, there's a button where you can request upgrades. And with having this card, it gives me that ability. But also with having this card, it makes it easier to earn silver medallion, which is like their lower level of status. Like I don't have any aspiration. I don't fly enough. I'm not like my mom. I'm not going to be earning Delta top tier status. But just through spending on Delta flights, having this card, I'm able to get silver status, which gives me more upgrades to comfort. I think I can upgrade like 24 hours before for free. And I've been able to take advantage of that a pretty decent amount, which has been really nice. And then I also get a companion certificate each year, which they've actually improved. The annual fee of the card went up, of course. That's how it always works. But a companion certificate each year, and that can be used, in Mexico, Central America, Hawaii now, which is nice. So, I book a flight for me and I can add somebody to that flight. It has to be on round trip flights, and there are times where it's not available. Like I tried to go use it this summer when Mitch and I were flying to and from LAX for our positioning flights to Bora Bora, and the flight that I needed wasn't one of the options. And so I was like, this is kind of dumb. Like I can't even use it for everything. So, keep that in mind. It's not a Southwest Companion Pass. We'll just say that. It's not that good. But so all that in mind, I really like having this card because like I've said, I fly Delta a lot. But as I got thinking about it, I was like, yeah, I fly Delta a lot, but I fly Southwest even more. And I fly with my family on Southwest. And so I'm going to keep a Southwest card instead, purely so I can pick my seats. That's why, because, walking through it, I was like, okay, yeah, I fly Delta a lot, but I pay cash and I'm fine just being in main economy, like the main cabin. As long as I get an aisle seat, like it's not that big of a deal. I did it for years and I was fine. So I'm going to go with keeping a Southwest card so I can pick my seats at booking, and because I fly it more and especially when I'm flying with my family. So Southwest is my pick.
All right. I am copying Pam, and I'm going to go with a United card because Houston is a United hub. And so to me, that makes the most sense for my situation. I think one thing, Pam, I agree with everything Pam said. I think one thing she didn't mention is that as a cardholder, you get increased award availability, or you sometimes even get discounts on cash fares as a cardholder. And so that is huge. I have used those perks for being a card holder and getting the increased award availability and the discounted award availability many, many times. And so for me, it just makes sense to have a United card, and I would choose United Explorer as well because of the 2 lounge passes and the $0 annual fee of the first year. That just is a no-brainer if you live in a United hub or are a United loyalist. All right, last up, one hotel card. Pamela, what are you choosing?
Jessica. I'm choosing, obviously, I'm choosing a Hyatt card, and I am choosing the Hyatt business card over the personal card. And there's a couple reasons why I do that. One is that the Hyatt business card has a better welcome offer than the personal card by a fair amount. And so that is important to me. The other thing is that the Hyatt business card is actually very essential to me for my continual globalist strategy. I cannot imagine me not having Hyatt globalist forever because I love it so much. And for every 10K of spend that I put on that card, I get 5 elite nights. And so it becomes something that I'm not putting 60 nights head in bed for my Hyatt Globalist. So spend is a big part of that. And so that's how I do it. I put it on my Hyatt business card. And that is why it is my pick for the one hotel card that I would pick.
I'm laughing because when you said that, do you remember the episode where you were talking about doing a mattress run and you talked about how you picked up the mattress and threw
We're like, whoa, Pam's buff. She's strong.
She meant to say like she picked up a pillow or like she picked up the comforter
Right.
and threw it, but she was like, I picked up the mattress and I threw it. We were like, what? You're not supposed to do that.
Yeah, I can never live down some of the things that come out of my mouth.
So if you do a mattress run, please don't throw the mattress. Just shovel the sheets a little bit to make it look like you stayed there.
Yeah, I've never done that either.
All right, Alex, what are you choosing?
You guys are going to laugh. All I wrote was Hyatt because I'm like, I don't know what Hyatt card I'd pick. So,
Alex, I feel like this has been you this whole segment.
Hey,
Well, I'm not sure. This was really hard.
can you guys tell I'm an Enneagram 9 and a little indecisive or what?
Very much so.
Okay, so I'm going to let Jess go. And then once I hear Jess's argument, we already heard my mom's, I'm going to decide which Hyatt card. So Jess convinced me why I should do the personal instead of the business.
I think that they're both great. Like, I don't think that in my mind, there wasn't like one clear winner. There was like a tug of war going on between these two cards for me. I will say I wasn't thinking that much about 524 when I was making this because I'm like, well, if I can only have five cards, whatever total, then I'm not really like 524 is not really factoring that much into it for me. I chose the personal card just mainly because it has a $95 annual fee and it comes with the free night certificate every year on your anniversary. And so like that alone, just the category 1 to 4 free night every year offsets the annual fee for me. And I also would try to get globalist status with spend on the card. It's not as good as the business card. You only get 2 elite nights for every $5,000 spent, but you get 5 elite nights automatically just from holding the card. So I feel like that alone kind of makes up for the lack of nights that you earn from spend. Like I said, it's not like I would choose a Hyatt card because I am a Hyatt loyalist. And I think earning all the points you earn by charging any incidentals on your Hyatt card, or if you're trying to go for a globalist status. So I chose personal pretty much for the 5 elite nights and the free night. But I don't know if that sways you or if you're like, no, I'm sticking with Pam.
Do you know what swayed me was you're like, the 5 elite nights kind of makes up for earning less on spend. Plus, you get another free night when you spend $15,000 on the card in a calendar year.
Yeah.
So I guess I'll go with Hyatt personal, but I'm in agreement. I don't think there's they're kind of apples to apples. Either one's great.
I will say that if I weren't a Hyatt loyalist, I do think the Hilton Aspire just objectively is one of the best hotel cards. The annual fee is high, but you get a Hilton free night certificate your first year. And Hilton free night certificates, you can use at almost any Hilton worldwide as long as there's a standard night available. You can use it at Bora Bora. You can use it in the Maldives. You know, like I feel like the value of the Hilton Aspire card outweighs all the other hotel cards. But if I'm only picking one, I'm picking Hyatt because I'm a Hyatt loyalist. So that makes the most sense for my situation.
Makes sense. So as you can see, the cards that we pick all really play into our individual strategies, and that's going to vary person to person. So what we're picking may not work out for you. So don't think that you have to follow what we do. Pick what works out best for your individual strategy. If you'd like to learn more about any of the cards that we've discussed today, make sure to check out our best offers page. We'll link it in the show notes.
Thanks so much for listening to Points Talk with the Travel Mom Squad. Make sure to hit the subscribe or follow button from wherever you're listening so you never miss an episode. Want to start jet setting even faster? Follow the links in the show notes to learn about everything we discussed in today's episode. And to stay connected and follow along, follow us on Instagram at Travel Mom Squad. We can't wait to see where in the world points and miles take you.